Good evening. This is the start of Norfolk Conservation Commission regularly scheduled meeting. It is Monday, February 9th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. This is a hybrid meeting with the in-person portion being conducted in Town Hall in Winnicott Room, and the remainder is on Zoom. We have participating commission members, everybody who is appointed, myself being Peter's chair, Lisa Perosa is vice chair, we have clerk Dan Pearson, we also have Mark Fernandez, Joe Carvalho, and Courtney Miller. We have one vacancy, so if there's any resident out there that would like to join, please contact the office and or the secretary for the select board. So our first item on the agenda is last meeting's minutes. The only two that can't vote on that is are Lisa and Courtney, but we have 4 people who can. Any comments? I just have one on the first page. It says no discussion was held about the conservation internship.
Yeah, we didn't, it was on the agenda, but we didn't discuss the internship, so I was just noting that, so people didn't think I missed it in the minutes.
I thought John, was that the prior meeting we discussed the details, or?
I think I brought it up to the commission saying that we were looking into it with the intern starting with us.
Yeah, but then we had, you described the intern and when they were gonna work.
I think that was the prior meeting, but I can go back and double check.
Well, okay. All right, I mean, as long as, because there was a discussion, I just don't recall whether it was the prior meeting or not. But at any rate, anybody else have any other comments or questions about the minutes?
On the second page, something I noticed, the second paragraph below the bullet, Siganowski shared his screen with the commission, blah, 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 blah. And it says, the site is currently used for commercial use in the front and landscaping operations. Now, is that landscaping operations in the front as well, or did we mean to say landscaping operations in the back?
I think the landscaping operations were to the side.
Yeah, they were to the side because I think there are bins on that side.
Yeah, they want to move them.
And they're gonna be moving it. It's not clear that it's actually an active landscaping business, but there are, there's a greenhouse in the back too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is equipment associated with the landscaping business.
Do you want me to clarify to the side, Dan?
Well, you could put that in. I don't think it's gonna be the end of the world if you don't.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you.
Anything else? If not, among those who attended this meeting, we're looking for a motion to accept as discussed.
Oh, there's one other thing. I think Latouche might be spelled wrong
Okay.
on page, let's see.
For East Hodges?
Page 5. But I might be wrong. So I should have looked it up, shouldn't I?
I can check the permit, because I think that's the owner of the property, so I'll check the permit
Right.
to check, to confirm.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the January 26, 2026 meeting.
Second.
We have a motion by Mark, seconded by Joe, so, be sure I get this right, so, Dan, Mark, and Joe, how do you vote?
Yes, aye.
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 And I'll throw in an aye, and, the other two will be, abstains. Comfortable with that? Our next item. Do we have anything to add with regard to 181 West Main Street?
Nothing as of yet.
Okay, and then, we don't have any public hearings to be continued, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And how about, inquiries or departmental updates?
So I have, we hinted earlier with the intern, I've been having, Kaya been helping with a lot of field investigations, so actually he's been coming out to a lot of site visits with me. And also I'm giving them some tasks with helping us with baseline documentation for our conservation restriction areas. We haven't been really keeping up with that, so he's gonna be helping and assisting me with that, and we're gonna be monitoring those properties, probably heading into, May when he's done with us. So that's the plan, so I'll give you guys updates as we progress over the next couple months.
All right. So we are now at continued public hearings. So file 250-1191, Abreu Lane. Apparently they're, whatever they had to settle with the planning board was settled, and there are no changes, no substantive changes to the plan, is that correct? So we can consider closing the hearing unless there are any further comments or questions.
So they did provide an updated plan. I don't know if the commission wants to see it, but
That was in the,
that was in the application that they recently submitted.
but that was in the Google Drive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I went through that, well, all right, maybe I looked over, all right.
John, do you mind?
Yeah, can you have it? No, well, the problem is, can you make me co-host so I can share?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 'Cause I can't.
Want to keep them under control.
Well, I can't do it from there, huh? That's weird. Where should-
Let me see you on here.
Why can't I make the co-host?
Oh.
I don't know why I can't. Can you make Courtney a co-host?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, Courtney, you should have the ability to share your screen now.
We can, you're, I don't know if you can turn your volume up, but, or a bit closer to you. Yeah, we can hear you.
So the plans are substantially similar to what you guys saw last in November. Just a very quick recap, the existing lot is about 7.5 acres with some isolated wetlands on site and some buffer zones to border vegetated wetlands. We're proposing a 3-lot subdivision and extending Aubrey Lane into a cul-de-sac. You guys have seen the grading, drainage, and utility plan showing all the proposed stormwater. Right here, you can see that we have a landscape island in the middle of the cul-de-sac to fulfill the planning board's requirement to have a park in a subdivision. And this last page after the details is the landscaping plan that is new. And it shows this landscaped park in the center. We added some black spruce trees along the boundary from the lot we're working on with the abutters to provide some screening between the drainage basin here and the houses here. And for this abutter here, we have proposed a 6-foot fence to provide screening, which the owner of Aubrey Lane and the owner of the house, Sunny, are working out exactly what type of fence they would like to use. And those are the changes we made while going through planning. Last Thursday, we had our last meeting with the planning board and our approval for the definitive subdivision and special permits. And that is my very, very quick run through of the project.
All right, any commission members have questions? And John, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't have anything to add unless anyone does on the board.
Joe, did you make a noise there?
There was no change to stormwater.
No.
The park didn't change any of that.
No, so this whole cul-de-sac was already sloped to go to this little paved swale here, which will eventually go into the drainage basin. I can show it on here. So even with that, it's still all, the high point is on this side, so the water will still flow around it. And there's a curb going around the landscape island that will help direct flow, the same as it was if it weren't there.
This is not directly related to conservation's jurisdiction, but there was one abutter who approached me about maintaining a buffer with the adjoining properties. And did planning have any requirements with regard to the subdivision rules and maintaining a buffer with adjoining properties?
So these properties in the back, I think I remember one of the abutters, may have been this abutter, was concerned about this side of the lot. And here we're planning to maintain these trees, and we show the proposed new tree line here. And I believe this was about 100 foot of screening. And then down here, where there is no screening, this is where we added black spruce trees to provide screening. Because we didn't have them.
And normally...
As long as, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
No, I was going to say, as long as Julian has admitted to being at a slight tangent, I might just ask, the Picea mariana is a wonderful tree, and I wonder why you picked it. I don't remember in well over 10 years anyone putting a black spruce, using that. Why? I wonder why you picked it.
Well, I was encouraged to look at coniferous trees. And I know that we were looking for deer-resistant trees that would provide a visual buffer, and that fit the description for me.
Well, it has very nice cones too. Anyway, just curious.
All right, so...
I just have one question.
Sure.
Is the street going to be accepted by the town as a public way, or is it going to remain private?
It's going to remain private. It has to remain private because of the minor street. Because of the width that we're proposing, it's classified as a minor street, and in the subdivision rules and regulations, a minor street is not allowed to be accepted, and we can't, that will never be an option.
So, John Thomas, do we have the, I assume we have the O&M, we just need to make sure the ownership gets to the eventual property owners here.
Yeah, yeah, the HOA for the residences.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
I think I have that in the draft, by the way, for
Okay.
order.
All right. right, so gonna open it up to the whole meeting. Anyone have any questions about this, project? If not, I think now we have adequate information that we can consider, closing the public hearing.
So moved.
That was pretty simultaneous. I think, Dan, you've got it, and Lisa is the second. So, roll call vote, starting with Lisa, Dan, and Mark.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Excuse me.
And Joe and Courtney.
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye, the motion carries.
Courtney, would you be able to give back hosting privileges?
Oh, yes, goodness.
All right, so we will consider the orders of conditions later in the meeting. And our next hearing is at file number 250-1198, 50 Flat Street. We were primarily concerned in, and do we have a representative of that project?
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm on the meeting, Josh White.
All right, and do you have a plan that you can present if we give you host, or co-host privilege?
Yes, I do. Let's see.
So is he now closed? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, can you guys see the plan now?
We can, you're gonna need to expand it a little bit, particularly in the area of interest.
Yes, I will. So again, Josh White from JD Civil, representing CAM for this project on Clap Street. The first meeting we had, there was a couple comments, and I wanted to just go over some of the things that we changed. One was just a general comment about the overall limit of work. We were able to reduce it about 25% from before. We pulled some of the grading back in the back, as well as added some boulder walls, just to reduce the amount of grading that was needed. So we reduced it about 25%, which is quite a bit for this lot. We also changed about 8,800 square feet of the driveway is now gravel. So up by the house, we kept this, it's about 100 feet, this section as paved, and there's a couple other sections along the driveway. So we kept it paved about 50 feet off the street, and then we changed to gravel. And then at the crossing, we kept that about 50 feet there for the crossing, and kept that paved, and everything else will be gravel. Still a 12-foot wide driveway. So that reduced the amount of impervious on the site by a good amount. And then we were also asked to look at adding some stormwater management for this, kind of the best we could come up with for the portions of the paved driveway. We've got a small pea stone diaphragm just off the driveway and a stone infiltration trench. Various dimensions for this one here. And then up on near the house, a similar one here. It's about 100 feet long, so those will handle the runoff from the driveway. And we also added a roof infiltration system to handle the runoff from the roof. This one, I believe, this is sized for, I believe, the 10-year storm, and then anything above that would just kind of bubble out at the downspouts and obviously the site is graded to drain away from the house. That's basically a quick summary of some of the changes that we made. But one other thing I wanted to touch on, we did add some snow removal areas on the plan, basically designate where it should be removed. Basically the sides of the driveway, outside the 100-foot buffer zone, and in this area where the crossing is, we are adding a post and rail fence on the side of the driveway to kind of enforce that snow should not be pushed into the wetlands off this driveway in this area. And same thing here off the driveway, and then at the end over here, so they can just push it this way. That's basically the quick summary of the revisions that we made, and we believe that we satisfied the stormwater requirements from the your bylaw for this site because of the limit of work being over an acre. So that's pretty much it for this. Do you guys have any questions?
I don't, anybody on the commission have any questions?
Yeah, I have some questions. Can we go back to the entrance where you meet Clap Street? So, I did miss the last meeting, but I read the minutes, and the file. Was the decision to revert to gravel, what was that based on?
That was, the client was looking at this and just thinking about ways that he could potentially save some money, as well as make it, as well as help us with the stormwater requirements. Obviously reducing this significant amount from pavement to gravel made the stormwater requirements a little bit more manageable. So that was basically just his request to do that, and we did that the best we could in leaving some of the areas, like I mentioned, paved where we think they should be paved.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you firsthand that it's really tough to plow a gravel driveway in the winter, because I live on one. And you're gonna constantly have ruts and gullies, and you're constantly gonna be ripping that up, and every time it rains, it becomes a mess. So, in light of paving, I would ask you to extend that stone infiltration trench along the whole length of it. If you wanna save the money, the applicant thinks they're gonna save money paving, you're still gonna have runoff. And it's going to contain silt, and it's gonna contain fines because you have gravel. So I would ask that you run that stone infiltration trench along the length of it. The next thing is, I don't think you mean snow removal area. That implies that you're removing snow from that area. I think you mean snow storage. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, that's the idea, yes.
Okay, so I would change that, because right now, the way you have it written, it looks like you want people to remove snow from that area. So, that should say snow storage area. Your crossing, let's get to your crossing. How much cover do you have over that pipe? Because this is exactly the situation I have at my house as well. And I ended up having to pave over that pipe because of all the frost heaps. There was not enough cover over that pipe. So I think you should give some consideration to that based on the depth of cover. Is that a stream connection, or is that just an equalizer pipe between the two wetlands?
Exactly, it's just, there's an old culvert there, and we are increasing that size because it's way undersized and it's partially buried.
Okay, so what's the depth of cover? Is there a detail for that pipe?
Yes. Let's see.
Yeah, about 12 inches in the lot, is that H20 loading is the first question. The second question is, once you start scraping, if it's not paved, you're gonna kill half that cover. It's just with the plow alone. I'm living it, brother. So, you might just have to pave over to the pipe, over the pipe.
Yeah, we do have, I know it's hard to see on this because we had to have this surveyor stamp it, but, see this line right here? This vertical one, and this vertical one right here? This section's gonna be paved.
All right, so let's mark that. So if you and I are studying this much to figure out that those two lines represent pavement, the contractor's not gonna know that. So I'm gonna ask you to mark up this plan so it's really obvious that that has to be paved. And again, I would like to see the trench extended in those areas where you're not gonna pave. And I think that's all I had.
Yeah, I'll just make a comment with regard to snow removal, and that is, I also have a very long driveway, but most of the time, unfortunately not this year, but most of the time I have a large snow blower attachment that I put on my tractor, and that's much easier to control with regard to avoiding damage to a gravel driveway. And it might work out with the homeowner. There are fairly good-sized snowblower attachments that can be put on zero-turn mowers, so that might be an option for the owner to avoid perennial damage to the gravel portions of the driveway.
Yeah, I think we have to assume though it's gonna be plowed, because we can't, control how the homeowner removes snow. So I can't imagine somebody doing this one by hand, but.
Oh, I agree, it could well be plowed, but, it'll have to be the choice of the homeowner to either have the convenience of a commercial plow driver come in there or reduce the long-term costs from the damage that the plow does by using an alternative method.
So, I would say the most important part of this driveway is obviously the piece of it that's in the buffer. So I would like to see, like I said, the gravel shoulder extended from the pavement limit up to the pavement limit, and then beyond that, within the buffer zone if possible. That's all I have.
Any other questions or comments from commission members? Hearing none, I think we can open it up to questions from any member, either those in the audience here or on the Zoom call. If you're on Zoom, you can just take your mic off mute and start your question, introduce yourself, including your address relative to the project, or you can go to the reactions button and the hand raising feature is there. But I don't see any questions or hearing questions, so I think we have everything we need to close. Is that your sense, John?
I mean, besides the comments that Lisa just made for plan revisions, obviously I think those can be adjusted by the applicant's engineer, as long as they reflect the comments from the comments that were made by Lisa this evening.
So the engineer can do that, and then we can consider an order of conditions at the next meeting, assuming those things are turned over to John. Does that sound like a plan, Josh?
Yeah, we can make those changes. One thing I just wanted to comment on. So we've, in regards to extending the trenches along the length of the driveway, one of the reasons, so there's kind of two reasons why they are where they are, and the size that they are. First, we sized so I mentioned that we changed a portion of it from pavement to gravel at the applicant's request. And then kind of on top of that, we designed the stormwater systems, the trenches on the sides, to meet the stormwater requirements from your bylaw, which is an inch of runoff times the impervious area. So we're treating, and that's how we came up with these sizes of the trench. Came up to nice round numbers, 60 feet long. So that's kind of, for example, for this one, that's why it's sized that way. Same as the other one up at the house. It's sized to handle the 1 inch of runoff, which is required, times this pavement area. And then the same thing, like I mentioned about the roof system, it's sized appropriately for this almost 3,000 square foot house. So we are required to provide 590 cubic feet, and we've got 608 cubic feet in those 3 systems that I've outlined. And that's meeting the requirement per your bylaw. So I don't think I understand that there's gonna be runoff from the gravel, but the bylaw speaks to the impervious area, so that's kind of why everything is sized the way it is and shown the way it is. So I just wanted to kind of clarify, not necessarily push back, but just clarify the way we sized this.
So I'm not looking for infiltration, Josh. I am looking to prevent sedimentation into the wetland as that gravel degrades, is plowed, and it may not be completely compacted over time. So the difference is I'm not looking for infiltration in those areas. I'm looking to minimize sedimentation into the wetland. So this isn't about meeting quantity, it's quality at this point.
Okay, so you're just looking for a couple feet of, I'd call it riprap, but something along
Yeah,
those.
some mixture of smaller stone, probably,
Yep.
3 inch minus, just to capture some of the silt that may come off of that, that's all. I'm not looking for quantity, I'm looking at quality.
Yep.
And I will remind you that you elected not to pave, so it's still considered impervious surface, even though it's gravel. So we don't want to get that confused.
Yep.
Yeah.
It also sets yourself up for success in the future if the applicant ever wants to, or the landowner ever wants to pave that. So I think, setting yourself up for success moving forward is probably the best choice of action for this project, because I know, if I own this house and I had to do this with this gravel drive, I'd probably want to pave it at some point.
It's exactly what happened to us. It was not paved and we had to pave it because it was a disaster. So, anyway, lessons learned, that's what I'm passing along.
So is there any way we would be able to conditionally approve or close, or we just need to continue until we can make those couple changes?
Well, procedurally, it wouldn't make a difference whether we continued or closed. And because we would just close at the next meeting and then issue the order of conditions then. So it's just one half dozen the other.
Yep.
Why don't we continue and you'll have time to put the changes on the plan, and then we'll close next time and issue.
That makes sense. What's the date of the next meeting?
February 23rd.
February 23rd.
23rd? Okay. Okay, then we'll request a continuance until then. And we'll get you updated plans based on those couple comments from tonight.
All right, so any further comments or questions from anyone in the meeting? And if not, we can consider a motion to continue this hearing, which is file number 250-1198, until
So moved.
February 23rd. Lisa makes the
So
motion.
moved.
Well, I think Lisa got the so moved, the motion,
Okay.
and Dan gets the second. So, Lisa, Dan, and Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
And Joe and Courtney.
Aye.
Joe, are you, you're still on mute, I don't, okay, so that's an aye, and I'll throw in an aye. So this hearing is continued until, is it the 23rd or the 23rd? Next is file number 250-1199, 0 East Hodges Street, which is a temporary crossing to gain access to the upland areas. And Brian, I believe you are the representative for this. One of the key issues was the staging area for constructing or for stockpiling the materials for the crossing.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, Brian Dunn with MBL Land Development and Permitting with offices at 5 Bristol Drive in the town of Southeaston. We're here on behalf of the applicant Pascal Latouf. And yes, you are correct, at the last public hearing, we had some questions about how we're going to use the mats for the temporary crossing, where we were going to have a storage area
So,
on site
Brian,
for the material.
Brian, there are a couple of members that didn't see this plan the last time, so if you can, you do have sharing capacity, so do you have a plan you can bring up?
Let me share the plan then, yes, sir, hold on a second. Let me know when you can see it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
So, yeah, so as I was saying before, the, couple of the questions were, for this temporary access, we're going to be using, the area over here on the site, for, stockpiling some of the mega deck, mats, swamp mats that are gonna be used, during this, temporary access, and any additional erosion control material that might be needed as part of this. The intent really is to do this in the snow condition, which is most ideal. As we met with John and Paul at the town hall in regards to this, so that we're trying to do this while we have some snow on the ground. So it's really ideal conditions for us to do this. So it is a temporary crossing. It is the intent of the applicant with the machine, a backhoe, excavator, to use about three different mega deck heavy-duty swamp mats, and then use them as a temporary crossing as they bring the machine over here through the resource area to get to the upland side of the site, so we can do some soil testing with the Board of Health, and do some soil evaluation as well for seasonal high groundwater. So the intent is to use this area of the site where there is some clearing in this area, so it's not really all wooded in the area in this part of the property. So it'd be ideal to offload the mega deck mats, put them here, erosion control, and then prepare to use them to bring the machine across the wetland in the resource area. And these are floatable types of mats. They also can be used to create a bridge, and that's really the intent as we cross over the stream in this area in the frozen conditions. So it is a temporary alteration, and we did, last time we were here, we did not have a DEP file number, so we were waiting for that information. We received that probably a few days after our last meeting with you, and they had some minor comments in regards to stream crossing guidelines, which we understand, if the perk test comes back positive, that we would have to comply with the stream crossing guidelines for our permanent design, whatever that is going to be, based on what the perk test and the soil testing come back at. So, based on the information I received from the client and the type of excavator, the mega deck mats are roughly about 7.5 to 14 feet wide. Each one of them weighs about, close to 1,100 pounds, and has a rating of about 600 PSI. And let me see some other information. So they can hold up probably an 18,000 pound excavator, and which is really about 10% of the total use of the mega deck mats. They really have good, strong maximum stability, and it's ideal for them to be used in the snow. These are the same type of mats that National Grid uses on their easements when they're doing work on their easements, restoring some of their power lines. And the machine can either have a narrow bucket or a larger bucket, so that if we're getting into some ledge or some stony material, then they can swap to the larger bucket when we're digging the holes, and use a smaller bucket to break through the snow and the ice. So it would be my understanding that most of the ground is probably frozen, at least a foot to 2 feet of frost right now. So we're asking for an order of conditions for us to allow, and for us to be able to do this temporary crossing, for us to be able to do perk tests and soil evaluation, Mr. Chairman.
All right, any further questions from commission members on this crossing?
Brian, last meeting, we discussed that it was gonna be a 12,000 pound machine. Is that still the case? I didn't notice your quote in here was.
Yeah, so I don't think we have a specific machine chosen yet, because I'm not too sure which one they're going to rent. But I know that there was a question about what was the total capacity of the mega decks. So they can hold the machine up to 18,000 pounds. So that's a pretty large machine. That's a large excavator. Excuse
That's
me.
a very large excavator.
Yes. So
Last time we were talking many, now we've gone up to an 18,000 pound machine.
I think what the question was, what was the maximum size that the mega decks could use, could hold? So I think it's going to probably be a smaller machine. I mean, an 18,000 pound excavator is probably a 330 or a larger. So I don't really think we need a 330 or a larger machine like that to get down to 10 feet of refusal over here. So.
But you can put a jackhammer attachment on some of these machines, is it? I mean, because
Yes, most backhoes can have a hammer placed on them, so if they have to, go through some ledge or some stones, they could do that, to hammer through that area of the harder material.
So
But if we're hitting refusal already and we're not at 10 feet, then I can't site a septic system in some of these areas.
right,
So
but
we're going to avoid that as much as we can. It's really a fact-finding type of mission here to verify if this area on the other side of the resource area is viable for development.
But I think some of the discussion last time was whether 2 foot of frost can be broken through with your standard backhoe.
Yeah, with the smaller type of backhoe, they can, a smaller type of a bucket, they can use the machine and the force of the machine to bust through the ice in the hard ground. So the idea is to use the conditions that we currently have, which is ideal for this type of a crossing. It's frozen, it's under snow, it's going to be less detrimental to the resource areas, and it might take a little bit longer for the excavator operator to bust through the ground and get to where we need to go to once we get to the upland side, but that's up to that experienced operator.
And what is the area of the upland that, roughly, I mean, are we?
Right, so here we have, this is where we're going through the resource areas here. You can see this still, correct, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission?
Yeah.
Okay, so ideally, we're gonna be up in this area here. We go back to another plan and show if you can show me the rest of the site. So ideally, we have all of this upland here to utilize as possible areas for a soil absorption system or multiple soil absorption systems. So we're trying to, get through that resource area to get to this upland area here and poke some holes and have them witness with the Board of Health and to ideally site an area that possibly could be used for a new septic system.
So is that roughly 10 acres or?
The total area of the lot, hold on for a second. Because in the notice of intent, let's see, yeah. Yeah, it's not, doesn't show.
All right, I mean, we'll find out later if you can.
Yeah, there's such a large area of upland over there. I'm trying to see the narrative that we put together.
Well, that's fine. Any further questions?
I did, I don't think my question's done.
Yeah, I have a bunch as well after Joe, you put the site plan back up.
Last time we did discuss, minimal disturbance. The whole discussion last time was we were gonna bring a mini machine in. And we discussed 12,000 pounds. And I mean, we've all seen here in town what happens when we let a large machine into a fragile site. They go destructive and start ripping trees down and making an absolute mess. We've seen it time and time again. So when we're talking these perk tests getting through a sensitive area like this, I really like to see you use the smallest machine capable. I mean, these deck mats are big. Last time you said you were gonna move them with a mitten, and now we're talking a lot bigger machine. So I'm just questioning this.
Okay, so if I may through the chair. So the intent, yes, I remember at the last meeting, we were talking about using a mini excavator. But the question was also, what was the maximum size machine that was allowable to use on these mats? Because it was a question. So I was only answering that question that the maximum size machine could be upwards of 18,000 pounds. I don't think that that's the intent of Pascal. And
What is the machine that we're gonna run? I'd like to see it weight.
I'm sorry,
I'd like this, a weight. The weight size machine that we're gonna do this on. Because now you're saying we can bring 316 in here, and that's a big difference.
Okay,
Excuse me.
so you want us to specifically tell you which?
I don't need to know the machine, I wanna know the weight.
Okay.
All I want is a weight.
Of the exact model?
Weight up to. I don't need the model, I just wanna know a weight.
All right.
Because if someone wants to bring a backhoe in, that's fine. If we're gonna say 18,000 pounds, a machine of 18,000 pounds, not 36,000 pounds.
I thought the question that was asked of us last week was, what's the maximum size machine that would be allowable to go on the site and use these mats? So I will get that information. I don't know if you can let Charbel, speak to that right now, because I know he's on the call.
Hello.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my name is Charbel. I am thinking about renting a most likely 18,000 pound machine, just because it will be more than adequate to break through the frost. The mats are actually rated for 86,400 pounds, and they're rated at 600 psi, and the 18,000 pound excavator only exerts 5.5 psi, so it's under 10%, well under this. The mats are kind of like very extreme. They're kind of overkill for this, but we're just going to use them for extra protection. And the excavator is 7.5 feet wide, so it's not still classified as a mini excavator. I think this mini excavator is up until, I believe it's 20,000 pounds. So, and the mats also, they have like tread on them, so the excavator won't slip off, which was discussed in the last meeting. So none of that is very, preventable from happening, because the mats aren't just like a slippery surface.
All right, so, I mean, obviously, if something goes wrong, it's gonna be a lot more of a pain for you guys than for us, because, so, if you're saying it's gonna be an 18,000 pound machine and that will not be any risk to coming off your little path, and you can navigate that path, particularly in the right turn, the right angle turn, fine. Joe, do you have any problem with that approach?
I don't, as long as we're not going over a machine of 18,000 pounds.
Okay. So,
Yeah, we won't be.
all right, so.
And then also, Mr. Chairman, we had the surveyors out here to identify the area that you have on the plan as the least amount of trees that would have to be, or bushes or whatnot, that would have to be, driven around, so that we're not, pushing down and, altering a lot of the trees in the resource area, in this area, for these mats to go down. So we specifically went out there and identified this path. We didn't just dream this up. So this is based on being on the ground and identifying what the best access is without, detriment to the resource area.
All right, fair enough. Any further questions?
Yes, I have several.
Okay, Lisa.
So you're asking for permission on how many lots? 2 lots, or? So access is one thing, right? So you're asking for an order of conditions on 2 lots, correct?
We're asking for an order of conditions on, it's actually, we're gonna be on all 4 lots. So we've got this 1 lot here, 2 lots, 3 lots, 4 lots.
Right, so you're gonna be taking, this is just access, so that you're gonna be potentially taking those tests within the buffer zone on the other lots as well?
No. The intent is to get past the resource area here, outside of this buffer zone here, that we have on the plan, which is the 100-foot buffer zone, and a 200-foot buffer zone to the riverfront. So the intent is to be doing these tests on this upland area here and all the way to the back of the lot like this.
Okay, so there's not gonna be any test pits performed within the buffer zone?
Nope.
Okay, so my question to you is, I would wanna see the 100-foot buffer zone staked out, because I've seen this go sideways so many times when the first people in the door have no idea where the buffer zone is, and that they're not supposed to take any test pits there. So I'd like to see the buffer zone staked out, whether with orange fence or construction fence or something. So the second thing is, in your construction sequencing, which I couldn't read, I assume you're gonna have the alignment staked out?
Yes, actually, it's already staked out.
Okay, so
That's one of the things that we did as part of this, if I may, through the chair.
Yep.
You can see on the plan, center line 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. This center line here has been staked out. The other
Okay.
part, when we were here at the last meeting, through the chair again, is we said we were going to flag this area so that it was clearly identified, so that when Charbel or whoever else is gonna come out here and put the mats down and bring the machine across, they know exactly where to put them.
Right, because you're gonna be wiping out the stakes, obviously, so you have to move the stakes, so I
Right, so
get that.
we said at the last meeting that we would put orange flagging on the either side of the erosion control so that they knew exactly where these mats needed to go and the access that they had to use. So they just can't drive wherever they want to drive.
Okay, you mean sediment control. What do your sediment controls consist of?
We have, I think it's wattles, and we have wattles.
Okay, so where are those wattles in Plainview?
They're the dash line I was just pointing to. So the dash line, right here.
Okay, I got it. So, you mentioned the width of the panel, you mentioned the weight rating. What is the length? What's the maximum length that you're gonna be able to span?
They're 7.5 by 14 feet long.
Okay. So, and how wide is the string in that location, the crossing location? My basic question is, you're gonna be able to span it from bank to bank?
Yeah, so these decks are actually, they float. So the intent is to, be able to put them on top of each other to make a bridge in this area.
Okay. So you also mentioned that you did look at, and I appreciate this, at least the fewest amount of trees come down. There's another area, this does not look like the narrowest river crossing though. But I'm just wondering, it's further, the pinch point is down there by 17, 15, down there.
Yeah, so this would be the smallest part, but I know that.
No, not that one, there's another one down closer to the road there, 15, 14, I can't read that thing. Right where your blue arrow is, right in there.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very dense. If I threw the chair again, it's very dense in this area here. That's why we didn't choose that.
Okay.
And then the other thing too, if I may, Lisa, is that if there was going to be a driveway or a road, it would have to come in this area here, in this area here. So this temporary alteration also allows us to reuse that in the proposed development.
Okay. What's the last question I had? Oh, are you providing a detail of those mats?
Yes, they were on the plans,
Okay,
right here.
okay. And is anybody going to, I would ask that somebody witness, somebody from your team or John to, again, I've seen this gone haywire. First person in just goes where they willy-nilly. Somebody needs,
I don't think we would be opposed to any condition that says myself or one of our other engineers to be on site.
Okay.
Installation. Well, we're gonna be there anyways, to do the perk test and witness them. So,
Okay.
so we would be okay with that because we're gonna be there anyways.
Okay. And then, John Thomas, the final question I have for you is, I'm sure we're gonna pack this thing solid with conditions that, so we do the perk testing, they're gonna need to go back in the spring to make sure the matting didn't kill anything. And number two, if there's nothing that's viable out there in terms of the perk test, how this place is gonna be restored.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely have to button up an order of conditions or propose an order of conditions with those conditions outlined specifically,
Okay.
as you recommended. One more thing, Brian, while I still have you.
Yes, sir.
Could you please, in this rendition of this plan, or whatever it might be, can you outline where the storage area is going to be? and tell us how that's gonna be delineated in the field, so the contractors know what their limitations are?
Okay, so we can do that, so this storage area would be outside the.
Whether you wanna hash that area with some sort of designation, you know, put some, you know, stars or something on it, I don't really care, but, you know, what I really want is to basically have some sort of barrier or some sort of physical, you know, demarcation, so that way the contractors know they can't just go willy-nilly as they come off the road.
Understood, got it.
All right, so any further questions, I think, from anyone in the meeting about this crossing? And if there are.
No, oh, just one more point of note, John Thomas, so we'd be issuing this permit on 2 lots then, right?
Oh, well, the whole project is for, I guess, this whole project is for those 2 lots, based on what we're seeing here, yes.
Right, but the physical work in our jurisdiction is limited to 2 of them.
2 lots.
However many lots there are, right?
2 lots, yes.
Yeah, okay. So are those gonna be are those existing lots?
Yes, they are, so right now, there's 4 different lots. So.
Right, but you're only looking for permission to be in the buffer zone on 2 of them, correct? Which we just discussed.
Right now, that is correct.
Oh, the question is, do you need 2 separate, you're not gonna get 2 separate orders, right? You're gonna have 1 order for both lots.
Yes, please.
All right, you're all set, Lisa?
Yep.
Okay, so, unless there are further questions, so, Brian, normally we would continue, although we would issue the order next time we just close.
Julian, I would just ask the public if they have any questions.
Yeah, I mean, the whole, anyone in the meeting, either in the room or, if you can just identify yourself, and, yeah, at the podium, I think you can. And just where you are relative to this project.
My name's Christopher Polk, I'm right next door. I own 123 and 127, which is everything that abuts this entire, I actually go 3/4 of the way around their property.
Okay.
My question is, the mats, how long are they gonna be down? Because I believe that there's water flowing, I haven't checked it the past couple of days, but I guess they're supposed to float, but I'm just curious how long they're gonna be down.
Yeah, well, the intent is that this is likely to be the lowest flow time. So, Brian, why don't you address the duration, because obviously as spring gets closer, the flow is likely to increase.
Yeah, so if I may, through the chair, the intent is to use upwards of 3 to 4 of these mats to bring the machine through the wetland and cross the stream in the frozen condition. So once the machine crosses, it's gonna need those mats again, so that we're picking them up and rotating them back ahead of the machine so that they can continue to make this crossing. So once they drive over here, so they put these mats down, they drive over, they're gonna have to pick these up and put them over here to continue moving forward to gain here. So they're gonna be there for maybe just however long it's gonna take to drive the machine over here, lift the mats up, rotate them and put them in, and keep on going.
So like a couple hours, then a couple hours to come back.
Right, hit
Okay.
that.
Okay. Oh, well, that actually clarified. I thought they were gonna stay in place as long as you're in the upland area, doing the actual perk test. You're saying it's kind of like.
Last week, we discussed that these weren't gonna be pitch poles, that there was gonna be a mat that was gonna stay intact for the entire time, and they were not going to be pitch poles.
And then after discussing with the client and the owners, that's not what they wanna do. They would have to rent a whole bunch of these to leave them in place. So,
And last week's discussion was to reduce the amount of damage by not doing this.
and that's exactly what we've done by showing this area it has a limited amount of trees in it.
Yeah, so you're not going the shortest route, you're doing the least vegetation impact.
That's correct.
What that boils down to. So if you have a plan to do anything later, you're gonna straighten this out.
I'm sorry, who's asking these questions, Mr. Chairman?
The neighbor,
The neighbor, and just repeat your name again.
Chris Polk. I live
Chris,
next door.
Chris Polk?
Polk, yep, P-O-L-K.
P-O-L-K, okay.
What's the question?
The question was that, if you do decide to do something, this is gonna be straightened out. It's not gonna be the way it's described on this.
Oh, you're talking about if it comes.
If it comes to fruition, if it perks, if the stars align.
Yeah, that obviously wouldn't be a road that would pass.
The stream crossing will have to be designed in a way that formulates to meet fire and safety protocols, also for street layout and all that kind of stuff. So the configuration is not ideal for any sort of roadway or driveway crossing.
Right.
So it will have to change, yes.
Okay. All right, yeah, and so it's just gonna be down for a couple of hours. I'm just worried about water flow, because it is gonna start to warm up, and this does flood out quickly, I just don't wanna be impacted, that's all I'm worried about.
Yeah, and I think the intent is to have this done and the mats pulled totally out of there before we get anything close to spring. Is that correct, Brian?
Yeah, that's the intent, that's what we discussed with John and with Paul at Town Hall. And ideally, I wanna get on the phone to the Board of Health tomorrow, if things go well tonight, and get some dates as soon as possible to get this done and get the machine in and out of there as fast as possible.
All right, well, our next meeting is 23rd of February, so presumably shortly after that, you can get this done.
Okay, thank you so much.
Any further questions from anyone on the call, either in the Zoom portion or in the in-person portion? If not, we can consider a motion to continue this hearing for file number 250-1199.
So moved to February 23rd.
Seconded.
We have a motion made by Lisa, seconded by Courtney, and list here. So Lisa, Dan, and Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dan, you're not on the screen right now, so I can't.
Sorry, aye.
Aye.
There we go, okay, and then Mark,
Aye.
and Joe, and Courtney.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye, so Brian, we're all set to see you next meeting, which is on February 23rd.
Okay, so that's when we're gonna have the order of conditions issued?
That is the plan, Brian.
That's the plan, yes.
Can you make those adjustments to the plan?
Well, absolutely, and then I'll get the surveyors out there staking that 100-foot buffer zone right away,
Okay, great.
okay?
Very good.
Thank you so much, everybody, appreciate your time.
You bet.
Thank you.
I know.
We have completed our continued public hearings portion, and now are moving on to our new public hearings. They include 3 house lots on Germain Way. The initial one is labeled 9 Germain Way, and its file number is 250-1200. Do we have a representative for this hearing?
Yes, I'm here. Gregory Bonovitz, Borderland Engineering.
And we need, you probably have screen sharing permission at this point, if you can bring up the plan. Now, this is a subdivision on Pine Street.
Just press share, let me know when that's okay.
We,
We see lot 13, Greg.
Yeah, so I think we're on 9 Germain Way, lot 13,
okay,
is that correct?
Okay, I think I had it as
That's
12 in
one
the
that we
agenda.
opened up. So this is DEP file number 250-1200. The project is a single-family dwelling with associated grading and infrastructure. Little quick background on the actual subdivision. Balfour Farm Residential Cluster Subdivision off Pine Street. The planning board approvals were in 2023, certificate of approval and notice of finding and decision. The conservation approval for the subdivision, border of resource area delineation was May 11th, 2021. And the order of conditions for the roadway and drainage construction was January 26, 2023. We are on Germain Way. The roadway is under construction. The infrastructure has been installed. The roadway is paved, and the lot that we're working on, that we're discussing, is lot 4, so it's the third one in on the left.
Lot 13, right?
lot 13.
Oh, yep, I am sorry.
That's all right. You're ahead of yourself.
Yep.
Lot 4
This
and
gives
5 are
gives the
coming out.
overview. These are the lot numbers, lot 13. And here is the site plan. The lot size is 62,653 square feet, 1.438 acres. Assessors ID is 24,912. The lot is served by public water and sewer. There is a portion of the lot that contains a drainage easement, this line right here, and that is actually 8,125 square feet on the lot. Some dimensions that relate to the disturbances and setbacks relative to the wetland resource area. The total disturbance for the house construction is 15,059 square feet. The disturbance within the 100-foot buffer, which extends from the tree line to the siltation control and incorporates a portion of the home and the grading, is 8,535 square feet. The closest point from the dwelling to the wetland is the deck here, and that is 64.1 feet. And the closest point of disturbance to the wetland is, in this area, is 47 feet. The siltation control that's shown here is this approved siltation control from the subdivision plan and the order of conditions, and that is installed and has been inspected regularly. So, conclusion of...
Just a quick question, this zigzag line, what does that denote?
That is the tree line, and it was just the way the drafting came out.
Yeah, it wasn't, it's not in the legend, so
Oh, I'm sorry.
I presumed that it was a tree line, but it's not the conventional tree line.
Yeah, you're real.
All right, so that will remain treed then?
Yes,
Beyond that
yes,
point.
the intent, that's the limit of disturbance. And so based on the information provided, the proposed single-family dwelling is being constructed within an already approved residential cluster subdivision, Balfour Farm. The project acknowledges and respects the established resource area boundaries as confirmed by the ORAD and order of conditions for the roadway and drainage construction. All critical structures and planned disturbances maintain setbacks, significant setbacks from the wetland. The project has been designed to minimize impacts and is consistent with the prior approval for Balfour Farm subdivision and conditions issued by the Conservation Commission and Planning Board. so I can go over any questions at this point.
Well, there's always, always a question about
So,
the tendency of homeowners to want to expand their backyard. And I'm presuming that at some point there's going to be a visible barrier to denote that that's the buffer to a wetland resource.
Yeah,
permanent
that's
visual
typically,
barrier,
yeah, that's typically been our standard.
Because I think all three of these lots have the same problem, except perhaps 4, which has a rather deep drainage structure. It might not encourage people to try to extend their lawn in that direction.
Yeah.
But on this one, I can see that it could happen, because you're, once you get down the very steep grades from the house, you're on rather gentle grades.
So is there any way to convert the, I guess that's a silt fence? To convert that post-construction to the visual barrier? That would probably make the most sense.
sure.
Just a suggestion. I don't know how anybody else feels about that.
I'm in agreement with you, Lisa.
Okay, and then I would just ask that you either label Julian's, same thing Julian had a comment about the tree, limit of the tree clearing. And then because we have the luxury of having a house number, if you could please put the house number on the plan as well, that will help us, because right now we're not even referencing lot 13. Oh, no, here we go. Okay, good. All right, so it was probably just our agenda.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, we don't always have house numbers.
I know.
But,
That is definitely a luxury.
Also, the
Thank you.
parcel for this is 9-12, right? And it's just lot 13.
Yeah, for some reason, the assessors intended to match up the builder's lot number with their property ID, and it didn't quite happen.
Ah, okay.
It happens quite frequently.
all right, so, any further questions about this particular lot from commission members?
No, I would just ask that you add a note that says to convert the silt fence to a, maybe a split rail fence or something, and then put a detail. Hey, do you have a detail of that silt fence?
That was the silt fence that was actually on the, this is the approved subdivision plan. So, that's shown, if I could find the correct law.
So is your contractor gonna have this plan as well? I mean, we're only approving your plan.
Of course, yeah, so
Right,
this, I'm
so-
going back to the, order of conditions for the roadway.
Right,
And
So-
this is what the commission saw, back in
right. So
2023.
if somebody were to pick up your plan, a contractor, you probably need to show, if you go to your plan,
Okay.
the silt fence, that's what we're approving.
Mhm.
So-
That silt fence has already been approved and that location is already installed.
Right. My point is, if it degrades and the contractor has to replace it, you need a detail. Looks like you have a detail, that's fantastic. So, that was my point. The next thing is, you just probably wanna add a note and put a split rail fence detail on here. That says the sediment control, not erosion, but the sediment control detail, by the way. And we don't wanna put stakes through the straw wattles, because it completely undermines the integrity of the netting. So we want to take that stake out. We don't really like those anymore, they're frowned upon by EPA. And put those at a 45-degree angle against the wattle, and not through the wattle. So just, if you could update that detail, it's a sediment control detail, and then just take the stake out from the middle of it.
Okay.
And then add a note in plan view and provide a detail of the split rail fence.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so if there are no further questions among commission members, we can open up questions to anyone on the call, including those in person in the room and those on the Zoom meeting. And again, on Zoom, you can go to the action button, and I think it's there's a symbol for raising your hand, yes. So or you can just take your mic off mute. If there are no further questions, we can continue this until our next meeting, in which time, do you have a question? No. At which time we would close and issue the order. So you're okay with continuing this hearing for the 2-week period until our next meeting?
Yes.
So I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for file 250-1200 to the February 23rd meeting.
Second.
Lisa makes a motion, Dan gets the second. So, Lisa, Dan, and Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, and then Joe and Courtney.
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. So we have 2 additional carbon copies. Our next one is file number 250-1201, 27 Germain Way, and it is, I believe, lot 4. Does that sound right?
That is correct, yeah. So this is 27 Germain Way, lot 4. And I've showed you the locus map before, but it's the third lot in on the left. So this one is similar approved subdivision. There's a current order of conditions on it. The siltation control has already been installed, and that's the siltation control that's on the approved subdivision plan. The lot area is 55,255 square feet, 1.26 acres. Assessors ID 2493. The property is served by public water and sewer. The drainage easement area on this property is quite large. It's from here, and then it extends to the rear of the property. It's 38,205 square feet. There is a total disturbance outside the drainage area, drainage easement. So this drainage easement line, total disturbance of 15,366 square feet. The disturbance inside the 100-foot buffer up to the drainage easement line is the 100-foot buffer, is 2,100 square feet. The closest point from the proposed dwelling to the wetland is 93.1 feet. The closest point from the drainage easement line to the wetland is 76.2 feet. The erosion control runs along the 50-foot buffer. Sediment control.
So this is the same issue with regard to your relatively modest grades once you get into this drainage easement, and it would invite somebody with really a minimal backyard area now to potentially expand it. So a physical barrier will be required there. And the bottom, you have this grayish pattern at the bottom of the drainage
Yes.
easement. And does that indicate it just, it's coarse, or is there a different material in that gray area?
No, that's actually an access way along the drainage easement for maintenance throughout there.
It's a maintenance corridor.
So it gets mowed, or what order?
Gravel, right?
I'll switch that over to the, this is, again, the approved subdivision plan. That was from 2023, that was already
Yeah.
approved under the order of conditions. So that isn't the right sheet, and I would have to flip through all the sheets to figure out where it shows that.
Yeah, well, I
So
guess,
you, I mean, on larger sites, those are usually gravel? I don't know.
I don't think it's gravel, I think it's just a relatively flat area, so they can gain access.
but presumably vegetation is controlled in it, is that?
Yeah, so here's what they're showing along here. Drainage, maintenance, access, typical to remain clear of vegetation or any obstruction.
Okay.
Doesn't say what the ground cover is, so I don't know if it's loam and seed, and maybe they just extend the loam and seed from the basin onto the top as like a part of the berm.
I'm thinking it's a level grassed area.
So in that case, Julian, if we go back to the site plan, we can't possibly put a split rail fence in the drainage easement, because you could be putting access. So I would suggest putting keeping that where it is, because it's already in place, right? And
Yeah, so,
following the split rail fence along the south, is that south, plain south, along the
Yes.
drainage easement? The other side of the drainage easement.
Be closer
so
to,
along
closer to
the
the house.
dash,
Yeah, it has to follow there, because you need to keep the rest of that free and clear for access. You can't put a fence up in an easement, right?
I
what
think,
if it
I think
was placed?
demarcating the drainage easement between that corridor and where the house is, I think would be sufficient as well. I mean, you're outside the buffer a little bit, but I think just having that precludes them from expanding going into the drainage easement.
Mhm. So place the fence along the dash.
That dash line there, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't have that barrier there, there's no telling what could wind up in the middle of the easement. You know, sheds
Exactly.
and swing sets and other things.
Did you say a pool? There's
So if you could let them
I'd figure it out.
And then I'm gonna ask you to make the same update to the sediment control by taking the stakes out of the center of the, oh, you said it was already in, right?
yeah, so that sediment control was actually the same sediment control approved on the
Okay,
definitive subdivision plan.
that's too late now.
That detail, so that,
I must have missed
that's
that one.
shown, yeah, that's shown here. It was in, what was it, 2023?
John, I don't know, I was slipping, you didn't catch me on that one.
So that was,
I didn't catch it either, so shame on me too.
that was the order of conditions from, January 26, 2023.
Okay, well, it's already in, so it's a moot point. Oh, but for next time, when you come in,
Okay, I'll make sure I update the detail anyway.
okay, thank you.
Any further questions from members of the commission? And hearing none, any questions from anyone in the meeting? And if not, we can consider a motion to continue the hearing for this lot until February 23rd in the same manner.
So moved.
Second,
We have a motion by Dan, seconded by Lisa. Lisa, Dan, and Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Lisa, I don't know if you.
oh, sorry, aye.
And Joe and Courtney.
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. And our next hearing is file number 250-1202, 25 Germain Way, which is lot 5, I believe, right next to lot 4.
Lot 5, just a quick look at the locus map again, right next to lot 4 there. And just a quick rundown on the areas and distances. The lot area is 54,790 square feet, 1.258 acres. Assessors ID 2494. The drainage easement area on the lot is from this dashed drainage easement line. Most likely will be putting the post and rail fence along. And that totals 37,989 square feet. The total lot disturbance outside the drainage easement, which would be the drainage easement and all around this tree line that I'll update the legend for out to the roadway, is 14,839 square feet. The disturbance within the 100-foot buffer to the drainage easement is relatively small on this one. It's this dashed 100-foot buffer up to the drainage easement line here, and that's 1,062 square feet. The closest point from the dwelling to the wetland is 97.5 feet. The closest point of disturbance from the drainage easement line to the wetland is 83.5 feet. And again, this siltation control is already in place from the subdivision plan and the order of conditions issued for the subdivision.
Just to clarify, these roadways and the drainage easements, along with all of the other structures, are in place already, is that correct?
Yes.
Right. So it's just the house construction that this pertains to?
Yes.
And in this portion, there are only 3 of the houses that are actually get into the buffer, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
All right. Anyone have any questions about this one? This one just barely gets into the buffer. Pretty much.
No, I think we're looking for a split rail though on the, I don't know what page, you want this up the page, I don't remember what this, just along that line, the easement, yep.
All right, anyone else in the, among commission members have questions? And if there are none, anyone in the meeting have questions? So as with the other 2 lots, we can consider a motion for continuation until February 23rd.
Oh, Bob raised his hand.
Bob B, okay. So, the person affiliated with the computer named Bob B, please identify yourself and where you are relative to this project.
This is Bob Butler, I'm at 133 Pine Street.
And your question?
Just general question on this project in Lloyd Circle. Are these both on public sewer?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So we have public sewer all the way down Pine Street now?
No, this sewer system connects to the sewer on the rail trail. Yeah, along the rail trail through here. So there's a sewer main that runs down Germain and around there, and then through an easement to the rail trail.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have a follow-up question when we get to the Wheaton project. So okay, thank you.
Yeah, so that is a good question. I mean, it will eventually run down Pine Street to the Wheaton project.
Any further questions from anyone in the meeting? So now,
So I think we need the motion, Julian?
yeah,
Okay, make a motion, continue the public hearing file 250-1202 to February 23rd.
Second.
we have a motion by Lisa, seconded by Mark. Lisa, Dan, and Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 And Joe and Courtney?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye, so motion carries. Thank you, and we're gonna move on now to.
Thank you, have a good evening.
You bet.
Thank you.
File number 250-1203, which is labeled 0 Pine Street. It is so-called Eaton Estates. And we have an in-person representative. Please identify yourself.
Sure, for the record, Claire Hogeboom, wetland scientist with
Did we skip
LEC
89?
Environmental Consultants.
No, 89's after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it wrong. I got backwards then, sorry guys.
All right, do we have a plan we can put up on this?
Yes, I shared a presentation with Megan and John that I would like to go through and just introduce everyone to the project.
Sorry, can I interrupt for a second? I thought 1204 was first, or is that just the,
It's in the conservation report, but the agenda
Okay.
is, yeah, I got it.
I got it backwards.
never mind,
Sorry, I got it backwards.
never mind, okay, sorry, but.
We can be flexible.
I can't minimize what I'm recording, interesting.
Still not seeing the shared screen.
Yeah, give me one
Working
second.
on it.
We're working on it.
Okay.
There we go. Now, how do I share screen? Can you all see that?
Words. Okay, now we can see it.
Okay.
Do you want to just zoom in a bit so
Yeah.
the one page state, yeah, maybe, yeah, that'll work. So again, for the record, Claire Hogeboom, wetland scientist with LEC Environmental Consultants, representing the applicant for the Wheaton Place residential cluster development. You see on this aerial image, the site is comprised of 3 lots just located south of Pine Street. If you want to scroll down to the next page here. Perfect. So on the left, we have that aerial from the introduction slide that is depicting the 3 undeveloped forested parcels just south of Pine Street, and then we have the perennial stream Rumford River flowing in the east direction along the southern property boundary. Yep, perfect. And then we have FEMA floodplain designation. We have a zone AE extending from the regulatory floodway in the south portion of the site that goes up to elevation 62. So that bordering land subject to flooding is present where it extends beyond the bordering vegetated wetland boundary. But I don't believe it appears to extend much farther. On the right of the screen, we have the natural heritage area data layers for estimated and priority habitat. You see that's mapped within the southeastern portion of the site. And notably, the project, when we get to the proposed project in a couple of slides, is not located within natural heritage area habitats. That's great. And also, I don't have a map for this, but the entire site is mapped within the 3 Mile River Area of Critical Environmental Concern, or ACEC. So here we have the existing conditions. The wetland resource areas on the property were approved by the Conservation Commission through an ORAD that was issued December 20th of 2021. Typically, that permit would be for 3 years, and come 2024, 4, I guess it was, when we were expecting it to expire, we had submitted an extension request, and subsequently, very shortly after, the Weeds Act was enacted that automatically extends permits that are valid between January 1st of 2023 through January 1st of 2025, another 2 years without an applicant needing to take any action. So the ORAD was automatically extended and now expires this year, December 20th, 2026. So what you see on the existing conditions, we'll just stay on that for another second. In green, we have bordering vegetated wetlands. You see it sort of in a Y configuration in the central portion of the site. And the BVW continues in the southern portion of the site associated with the Rumford River. Just in that south central portion of the property, outlined in pink, is a potential vernal pool, and that boundary was also authorized or approved in the ORAD. We have 200-foot riverfront area in the black line work extending from the Rumford River, and I believe there's 2 sort of black boundaries or black line work on the eastern portion of the site, sort of in a north-south direction. One of them is the natural heritage data layer, and the other, I believe, is the interim wellhead protection area that is in the southeastern portion of the site. Okay, we can go to the next one.
Oh, sorry, can you zoom in and show us the flood zone relative to the existing conditions?
It's kind
Yeah,
of
it's a
green.
little blurry.
It's kind of greeny, but it's here. Zone AE can kind of make it out.
Okay, and that's at elevation 62. What about the regulatory floodway?
That would be interior of that within the Rumford River itself. I don't believe it's
But you didn't-
depicted on this plan sheet.
Okay, but you're not showing the regulatory floodway? You're just showing the AE zone?
That's correct, the landward boundary of that BLSF.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we can go to the next slide. So here's an overview of the proposed project. It includes 3 subdivision roadways. They're identified on the plan as Road A, Road B, and Road C. So we have Road A is that loop road that comes right off of Pine Street with 2 entrance or exit points. And from that, the western road is Road B that extends, providing access to those, looks like 7 lots. And Road C is on the eastern side, providing access to, looks like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 more properties. Overall, this is a 21 lot subdivision. For the purposes of designing the stormwater management system, the driveways and house layouts are shown on the plan, but we're not seeking approval of the houses themselves. Those will be individually permitted, similar to the 3 that you just saw from Borderland Engineering prior to this discussion. This is a cluster development, so all of these lots are no less than 40,000 square feet, or a little under an acre. And that allows a good portion of the property to be preserved as open space. So on the left of the property, where you see a big text box, that's about a little under 2.5 acres of land that's going to remain as open space, and a little off the screen, in the bottom right of the screen, and including that potential vernal pool area, is also about 22.5 acres of space that'll be left for open space. So you can see the work is avoiding that riverfront area. We're not getting near that bordering land subject to flooding, and avoiding that natural heritage area polygon as well. 16 of these lots are going to be accessible via the 2 roadways. Both of those roads, Road B and C, require wetland crossings, which I'll touch on at the next slide. But before we go there, we have 4 infiltration basins proposed. 2 of them are just at the bottom of the screen with Road B, there's one over by Road C, and the fourth is just within the Loop Road A. And those will receive stormwater from subsurface drainage infrastructure to be installed within the paved subdivision roads. We also have subsurface utilities, water line and sewer that will be installed either beneath the roads or just immediately adjacent to them in shoulders. I believe. Ready to go to the next slide. So I just want to touch on those two wetland crossings. So Road B is that left crossing. And on the left side of the screen, I just highlighted in green the actual bordering vegetated wetland impact. We got 1,905 square feet of permanent impact proposed. And the road itself is 24 feet wide for the vehicular traffic pattern. There's one 4-foot wide sidewalk, timber guardrails on each side, and riprap slopes that'll be graded at a 1-to-1 slope. In other cases, like for example across the street, with that filing we have retaining walls proposed. We considered that for this project, however, not always common, but in this case, since the road is only going to be elevated about 4 or 5 feet above the existing grade, to install retaining walls would actually result in more impacts to the wetlands in order to facilitate installing the footings and installing the metal guardrails that would have to be installed on those as well. So in this case, grading on each side with the 1-to-1 slope riprap is going to result in less impacts as opposed to the vertical retaining wall. Zenith Consulting Engineers, the engineer that prepared the plans and the design, also include two 24-inch diameter culverts to allow for a hydrologic connection to remain between the wetland on each side of the crossing. To the right of the screen, we have a proposed replication area shown. That's immediately adjacent to the impact area. Before we really fully developed the plans, we had an interdepartmental meeting with various departments in town. John Thomas was the present representing the commission, and we were seeking his input on the preferred approach for wetland replication. Since we have two crossings, would it be preferred to have one large replication area or one replication area as close to each impact area as possible? So he suggested the latter. So that's why here we have a smaller replication area, and when I say smaller, it's actually quite sizable. It's 3,500 square feet, a little bit more, and it's going to be a 1 to 1.86 ratio for the area lost. That was another suggestion that John had, requesting that we attempted to create replication areas at least a 1 to 1.5 ratio. So if you want to scroll down to the next one, we'll go to the eastern crossing, or Road C. This is a bit of a larger crossing area, albeit in the most narrow portion of this wetland. We have a little over 3,000 square feet of permanent impacts. We also have, at this crossing, two 24-inch diameter pipes for hydrologic connections. And on the right of the screen is the replication area that's, again, in close proximity at a 1 to 1.5 ratio. So cumulatively, if we're looking at impacts as a whole with replication as a whole, we're under 5,000 square feet of permanent impacts, and cumulatively we're proposing a 1 to 1.64 ratio of mitigation for the areas lost. I want to scroll down a bit more for the next one. So during construction, or sort of the construction sequencing here, of course, prior to any work commencing, the contractor will install the sedimentation controls at the limit of work. identified sort of in the darker, thicker black line work around the development here. The silt sock detail on the left of the screen is shown. That's what's going to be installed along the limit of work. And before I have Lisa have to tell me what I've heard a couple of times already, I already took a note that we'll get the erosion control or the sediment controls updated on the plan so the stakes don't go through the silt sock. But those will be installed prior to work starting. The contractor will then install the anti-tracking pad at both of the site entrances off of Pine Street. That's about 50 feet long. And that'll remain maintained throughout construction to reduce sediment leaving the site with truck traffic. The contractor will then begin clearing and grubbing vegetation. One of the first steps will be to excavate the 4 sediment or stormwater basins. Those will function as construction period stormwater management areas as well. And then they will continue with grading and constructing all of the roads and utilities. Catch basins will all be installed within the roads as well, and they will only go online once the entire site is stabilized and the stormwater basins are able to receive stormwater flow from those areas. Let's see, the sediment basins and stormwater will be inspected weekly or after half an inch of rainfall in a 24-hour period, whichever one happens first. And since this project will result in over an acre of land disturbance, it will require a NIPD's construction general permit. So when Zenith prepares the finalized stormwater pollution prevention plan to be approved by the EPA for that permit, we'll provide a copy to the commission for your records. And I think one more slide to go and we can jump to questions. I just wanted to go over the regulatory compliance very briefly, but we are submitting this project as a limited project for construction of a new roadway of the minimum legal and practical width acceptable to the planning board. So we have a 40-foot wide crossing overall at both of these crossings in the wetlands, but the minimum allowable width for the vehicular portion of the road is 24 feet wide. That's the most narrow that the town will allow under the subdivision regulations. Minimizing impacts as much as possible with one sidewalk, and as I mentioned before, grading versus a vertical wall. In our notice of intent application, we addressed that BVW impacts in the ACEC are allowable so long as the proposed or the work is proposed as a limited project, which is up to the discretion of the commission to approve a limited project. Still, nonetheless, we are under 5,000 square feet of permanent wetland impacts, so we still remain under the allowable threshold if this wasn't a limited project. We are providing over 1 to 1.5 ratio of replication. And then a final recommendation from John when we had the interdepartmental meeting was to, for us to get ahead of the anticipated request for a wildlife habitat evaluation. So we went ahead and prepared that with the notice of intent. We did a simplified Appendix A and the detailed Appendix B wildlife habitat evaluation forms, and ultimately drew the conclusion in our report that the wetland crossings would not reduce the site's capacities to support wildlife. So with that, I think that covers everything. We did receive the DEP file number. There were some comments more related to the water quality certificate and cautioning us to remain under 5,000 square feet. And I believe there was a comment for subdivisions. We need to file a deed restriction that no work in the future would result in additional wetland impacts, so we would intend to do that as well. So we aren't expecting a wildlife.
We did that for the other one too.
Yes, we did, yeah.
Okay. So questions from members of the commission?
Could you just clarify again the relationship of this large plot to the ACEC?
These 3 parcels or the entire site, it's entirely mapped within the ACEC.
So it's within the ACEC? Okay.
Correct.
The whole thing? Do we have a problem with that as a commission? Am I missing something? I'm usually missing something, but.
No, you're not, Dan, it's held to a higher standard, right? So, the question you need to ask yourself is there any unnecessary filling, is there any unnecessary alteration of the BBW because it's supposed to have a higher quality because it's inside of an ACEC. Now, I don't know why the ACEC is nominated based on certain values. So I don't know whether it was the Rockford River corridor or scenic, or I don't know if you know, Claire. So there's a reason why an ACEC is nominated and accepted. It has specific values. It would be interesting to know what the values are associated with the ACEC. Is it aesthetic? Is it visual? Is it the habitat? Is it the wetlands? I don't know. Which one was that, Claire?
The 3 Mile River.
Oh, 3 Mile River. So if you could give us some information on that, I think that would be helpful.
Okay.
Also, Lisa, you used the word, maybe the word you used was necessary. What is necessary here, really?
On a version site, none of it, Dan, none.
I mean, I know we're getting into higher philosophy, I guess, but this is a site close to the center of town and right next to Wheaton, which is our gem in this town. Granted, that doesn't hedge particularly on water quality, but
well, water quality is an important factor because I believe this is also in the wellhead protection area, or zone 2, was it, Claire?
I believe both. I think the zone 2, I don't have a map on me, and I think I was looking into it for something else earlier today, but I believe the zone 2 extends through most of the site, and the interim wellhead protection area is the southeastern portion of the site.
So are there any restrictions, for instance, under zoning, which, so for that matter, Dan, it means it contributes to our drinking water supply. So
okay.
Then you want to look at, mainly the, I would say the planning and zoning have restrictions on like what you can and can't store outside. So for instance, if it was a Home Depot or something, it'd be like, okay, this is a no-go because we don't want fertilizer stored in a drinking water wellhead protection zone, right? So this one's a little tough because you can have individual homeowners and you can't control what they do out there. Is this going to be managed by a management company? Is it going to be privately owned, publicly, the road?
That is a good question. I believe similar to a project that was discussed earlier tonight, it's going to remain a private road, so it'll go to the ownership of the homeowners association when they are established.
So that's even scarier, Dan.
And you're going to, thinking of the map you put up some minutes ago, those 2 circular blobs that look like feet, those are parks, are they? Parks in quotations? Or have you not considered that there needs to be parkland in the in the site.
Dan, they're already preserving open space. And they're already preserving open space.
And Dan, our review is limited to the context of the requirements of the Wetlands Protection Act, and you're bringing up things
Okay, you're right.
that,
Ground discharge to groundwater, Jillian, and drinking water supply is certainly within our purview. Groundwater quality,
okay,
so.
but if you, and actually, Claire, maybe you can help me here. All of the actual houses are outside our buffer zone, is that correct?
Not all of them, off of Road B, the left one, there's a buffer that extends, yeah, John's tracing over it right
Okay,
now, so
alright.
some of
So
those
there's
homes.
three lots here that are gonna be in our jurisdiction.
And the fourth to the right of that road.
And this one here is gonna be in our jurisdiction.
Okay, so those come before us later, this
Yes.
is
This
more
one is,
a
So you wanna
substantive.
look at the road, you wanna look at the road in terms of de-icing agents and things like that. But, you know, it's the same old thing that we had up on Red Mill. How much can we control? How much can we control with, you know, the type of de-icing that they put down?
Now,
So,
when you, I'm sorry, Lisa.
no, that's the kind of stuff we have to think about.
When you say that those lots mentioned a minute ago were within our purview, are they within the 100 or what line is that? The 100-foot buffer zone or what?
Yes, that's the
What are we-
100-foot buffer zone to the bordering vegetated wetland.
we will
Yeah, what
have,
would be really helpful is if you could take a highlighter right now and maybe highlight what we're looking at, because there's a lot of lines here.
I don't think I can highlight it.
Yeah, but I don't know,
Oh, that's the erase button.
Oh, is
There
that
you
what
go.
it is? Alright, there we go.
Highlighter,
There we go.
far left, there you go.
oh, you're gonna. So
See how
that's-
steady you are.
Not very good, Lisa. I'm
That's,
trying here.
that's the 100 you're.
Well, that's the 100, that's what you guys said.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then go this way, and this way.
Oh, John, you get an A plus.
I get an A
That's
plus,
awesome.
wow, I got an A plus.
You should
Lisa.
see me.
This is like, wow. Getting gold stars all around.
Doing fine, John.
So Claire, oh, jeez. I was gonna say, am I getting paid for this, but hey, doesn't look like it now. Sorry, that was a little mess up. So there's your 100-foot buffer that way, and then over here, there's a couple, let's see.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's really just
you know,
those two house lots off of the wetland crossing.
Well, it's 3 houses, it's 6 houses total plus the roadway.
Yeah.
Portions of 6 houses plus the roadway. And then we have another 2 houses and all that roadway over there.
Disregard this right here, okay? Please, thank you.
And then, you know,
You can try erasing it, hold on. There we go.
Oh,
Oh, look at
Worked.
that, John.
Yeah, worked.
So that's what's in jurisdiction, Dan.
it's, okay, so the 25, if you were to highlight that, would be,
Dan, you're asking for a lot right now.
sorry, John, I
Well,
didn't.
how do we put it this way, John? We either ask you to do it or we ask Claire to color code it so that we can, you know, there's a lot of info on here, that's all.
All right, let me
Wait, so the-
save
the
Claire
20
the trouble.
So now the 25, Dan, do we really need to be in the 25? No, they should have laid out a virgin site so it's out of the 25, so let's hope they did. That would be an unnecessary alteration.
I believe that's what we intended to do. Of course, it's unavoidable with a wetland crossing, but I believe the erosion, or the sediment controls are generally on that 25-foot, if not further from the wetland boundary.
So then the next question becomes, it's a limited crossing. I get it. I see that Wheaton College owns property, so once that happens, you start looking around at what else do they own, and is there another way in that avoids the crossing?
Yes, we did look into that. In the NOI report for the limited project provisions, we did touch on that a bit. That Wheaton College parcel to the left is quite large and also has, I believe, wetland resource areas within it as well. So I don't believe, purchasing it from the college was really on the table. Alternatively, any land essentially to the south, as you can imagine, would have required crossing the Rumford River. There's multiple parcels to the south and southeast of the property that comprise a bit over 200 acres of conservation land. So really, acquiring any properties to get alternate means of access was not really feasible for this property.
So is this a Wheaton project, or are they selling it off? That's what I'm
No,
confused about.
these parcels were not owned by Wheaton College. I'm forgetting the name of the individual that owned them before, but
Is it Andronis?
I'm not certain. But in any case, it wasn't a Wheaton College. I think the applicant just chose Wheaton Place, considering the close proximity to the school.
Okay. So there's no other property that this entity owns surrounding this property to get into this property. That's what I'm getting at.
Correct.
There's no shared ownership, correct?
Okay.
Which is why the limited project is what they're seeking for this.
So, Dan, to answer your question, is it necessary? Well, the crossing, if you eliminated that crossing, you would eliminate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses, and you would just be building on that little, actually, there is a stretch, there's 2 crossings, right?
Yeah.
So you'd only be building 1, 2, 3, 4, you'd only be building 6 houses with if you did no crossings.
Yeah.
But those,
So you
but-
look to avoid it.
but
Did they avoid it? Well, no, not exactly. Could you eliminate a crossing? Yes, but this is what they're presenting, so we have to act on it. And then you look to, if you can't avoid, you look to minimize. You minimize the footprint, you minimize the crossing, and then you mitigate. Those are the 3 steps.
Now, my understanding from this, if I can, I guess, go back to some preliminary design concepts that the applicant provided us that the commission is not aware of, obviously, is that this is the lesser of 2 evil design than what the maximum loadout was for the applicant originally, right?
That's right. Do you have the plan that I uploaded today somewhere?
I might have it.
Oh, we don't have to jump to it if.
But I think
It's on Google Drive. so-
I think the alternative, this is the lesser of the 2 evil alternative, which is more, I guess, amenable to the impacts within the resource areas than what was the max loadout that was proposed for a
Right.
limited project, correct?
Right, so, well, as part of the planning board process as well, in order to request a cluster development, the applicant needs to demonstrate that they could develop the site in the other C word, what's the word I'm looking for?
Conventional.
Conventional, thank you.
Yes, yeah.
And
Yep.
so they did the conventional layout, which got them 21 lots, but it also had a 3rd wetland crossing and required the crossings to be in wider portions of the wetlands. So definitely would have resulted in more than 5,000 square feet of impacts, and that's where sort of this conventional or this cluster layout really allowed Zenith to find the most narrow portions of the wetland to utilize for the crossings.
But you couldn't have exceeded 5,000 anyway because of the water quality regs, right?
Well, we could just request file for a water quality certificate, but
That just opens the door for a lot more permitting and reviews that probably the applicant doesn't want to move forward with, and it's not worth their time for the extra house
Well-
lots.
But do we want them? I mean,
Do you want the extra houses, Dan?
I'm sorry?
Do you want the extra houses?
No, no,
Okay.
certainly not.
Okay.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding again.
No, we wouldn't receive the permits. Those would go to the state. For state
Yeah, the water
review.
quality does.
Yeah.
Well, I do have some questions. One is, if we could zoom in on how much fill you're putting against that silt suck. I'm wondering if you have enough freeboard and you need a conventional silt fence. So how much fill are we showing in the maximum location?
Let me go up to that one. Where's the crossing?
Probably around one of those driveways or something, or wherever you have those strong wattle. So I'd ask you to look at it. I'd ask you to look at how much fill do you think you're gonna side cast? You shouldn't even be side casting against a sediment control, but what is the depth of that fill? And you may need to use a combination. You may need, in some locations, you may need the silt fence, because you want more freeboard above the ground, right? And in some locations, maybe the 12-inch wattle's fine. I would ask you to look at that. We don't need to get into it tonight. Number two, if we can go to the sediment erosion control plan. I would ask that, I have seen a tremendous amount of tracking in this town. So I'm gonna ask you to make, because you have two entrances, I want one to be a dedicated entrance and one an exit. I want them signed really clearly for the contractor. And so you can figure that out based on site distance, whatever else you need to, which one works best. For site distance and turning radii for trucks, but I want one in, one out, not two to track.
Sorry.
The next thing is, just to clarify, so the EPA does not approve the SWIP. It just goes on file with them. So we're not just going to take the SWIP file, we're gonna review it and approve it prior to construction. So that will be a condition. And then the last comment I had is, was the vernal pool certified or just a PVP?
it was identified as a PVP, we didn't certify it, and the engineer's been designing the project presuming it's certifiable.
So we would ask you to be out there this spring, document it, and then prepare the paperwork and file with NESHAP if indeed it meets the certification criteria.
If it's gonna be projected in open space anyway, do we need that?
We want it certified. This is our opportunity to certify it. If we don't certify it now, what happens? We just all pretend it's certifiable.
But
Let's get it certified.
it's nothing's ever gonna happen to it though.
I agree.
What's that?
It's gonna be protected in open space.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter to me. I mean, you can't just go on and say, we're gonna pretend it is. You need to certify and get the documentation to the state, so it's on this file. We're not gonna be here forever. Certify it, please. That's my only other comment.
Any other questions or comments from commission members? So I think we can open it up to people attending in person as well as on Zoom. And again, you may just either raise your hand through the reaction button or take your mic off mute and ask your question.
Bob has a question.
Bob B has his hand up.
Bob, why don't you just refresh our memory?
Okay, it's Bob Butler, 133 Pine Street. I've got several questions. So the first one, the cluster subdivision, to determine the number of lots, they had the conventional plan. That included the priority habitat in that conventional plan. I was told at the planning board meeting that that's actually allowed as far as, you know, creating a conventional plan to determine a cluster subdivision. Is that right?
I'm not intimately familiar with these subdivision regulations, so I can't say for certain if that's correct.
I would think that, I can't speak for subdivision regulations, but if an applicant wants to propose something within natural heritage habitat, they can, but they need to submit it to natural heritage for their approval, so making sure that there's no take on the specific species. And whatever species is out there, they need to make sure that they put any sort of safeguards or whatever preventative measures and construction details in place to make sure that there's, you know, no mortality for that species and it's able to thrive as it's mapped in that area.
Okay, but like, is that, like, if they're not really planning on building in that area, but they're using that as, you know, to determine the number of lots for a cluster subdivision where they won't be building in that area, and I guess I'm just asking if that's.
I mean, you're talking a hypothetical thing, right? So for instance, if someone's showing a concept and they're showing that they can do a design in a certain area, yes, they can propose what they're wanting to do. Whether they actually formalize a design plan like that, you know, that's the question at hand. For this design that's currently in front of us, they're not proposing any work in natural heritage, so it becomes not a non-factor for us to review.
Okay. I just, yeah, I don't know if it's planning board. I mean, I'm talking about like the number, because that's what determines the number of lots that are acceptable, right, in the cluster subdivision. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be certainly within planning board, because that's
okay.
not part of our purview.
Okay. Another question is the wetland disturb area. So this same developer has those in the other, was it Lloyd Circle? I don't believe there's one in Germain Way, but there's definitely one that was discussed quite a bit for Lloyd Circle. I mean, Germain Way is more or less adjacent to this project. So when you're looking at like watershed and the ACEC, you know, as far as like total wetland disturb area, do you take those other subdivisions into account?
You mean like as a model and example? Is that what you're talking about?
So there's a total square footage that's allowed, correct?
Correct.
Without getting, you know, further permitting from Army Corps of Engineers, whatever. And then, so is it acceptable to kind of like count this as a totally separate project from Lloyd Circle? It's the same developer.
It's same developer, different parcels, different scope, different project. So the parcel designation is what designates kind of those restrictions. So if I had a cumulative project that spanned 3 parcels, you know, on this property, this would be basically a brand new slate.
Okay. The next question was I had a question on that circular road on Pine Street. I don't know, like, what the purpose of having the 2 streets or two entrances to the same street on Pine Street is. I mean, is that really necessary? It just seems like it would be less disturbance just to have like one street off of the Pine Street.
They probably need it for frontage. So if they didn't have that second street, they wouldn't be able to get all those houses in, because you have to have frontage.
Yeah, my guess.
That's my guess.
My guess, Brian, is because of a planning requirement.
Yeah.
And, you know, it also might have to play into water and sewer connections as well. That does factor into the design and layout for a lot of these streets. So that could be another reason why as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure the frontage on what street were you talking about? On Pine Street?
No, I mean, in order to have those lots, those additional lots, you have to have frontage. So you're creating another road so you can have frontage, otherwise you just have the road, you just have the lots on the one stretch of road coming in. But it's a planning board issue,
Okay.
once again, yeah.
Okay. It's not really a major concern, it's more curiosity. Another concern I had was there's like a bunch, a lot of carriage roads out there. They're actually shown on the plans. And where it's kind of intersecting with the new roads, there's just like an opportunity for, dirt bikes and ATVs to kind of get in there and tear things up, So, I didn't know if there'd be some kind of, order of condition or something that, like those are paths are like blocked off with boulders or something, just to kind of keep motorized vehicles from going into the trails.
Are those trails accessed by Pine Street today?
They're really not. I mean, there's like a pipeline trail, which is like on the west end of this property, in between like this property and the Wheaton property. There's like a pipeline trail, and really just hunters kind of know where to go in that way. Other than that, there's really no access to the trails other than like from behind people's houses, or if you walk in like through the woods from Pine Street. But there's no real trails other than where they did their testing roads there already.
I think, Brian, what we'll probably end up doing, and obviously it's not my purview, it's more the planning board at this point, but it's gonna be the open space preservation kind of restriction that they had, similar to what they did for Lloyd and Germain Circle. I think that's probably what they're gonna end up doing for this project. And as of right now, I don't think we've had any sort of issues with any sort of ATVs or dirt bikes in that area. And that area is right next to the rail trail. So I'm not sure this area is gonna have similar kind of occurrences of that happening. But if it does,
No, you definitely do. You definitely do have like dirt bikes that go down that rail trail. I've seen it before.
Well, the electric bikes definitely have. I've seen those go down pretty far, and I think that's part of the discussion that we're gonna have as a town moving forward with the electric bikes. But I haven't really heard anything or seen anything about dirt bikes. No one's really reported it to me, so.
Yeah, I've seen. I've seen people driving the side-by-sides down Pine Street too. It's like they're definitely around. I'm just trying to look for a way to kind of preserve the land that's out there. That's what this open space is for. It's not like, you know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Walking back there, and there's just, a lot of wildlife back there, and just trying to preserve that area. So I was just looking for ways, if there's like a few spots where you can kind of block off, where the old cart paths were, like if you're gonna be like crossing those cart paths where you're building, maybe just block them off somehow. That's just a suggestion.
So is that open space gonna be public, or just to the homeowners of that development?
I believe at this time it would go to the homeowners association. I think, I don't think there have been any discussions about the town taking, or maybe, we may have even talked about it at the interdepartmental meeting, and I don't think the planning board was interested.
The discussion.
So Barb, it's gonna be open space, but it's not gonna be open to the public. Theoretically.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I guess if there are any bikes or anything, any trail bikes or anything, I guess the homeowners association's gonna have to kick them off and not the town of Norton.
Okay. Can you bring up the that map, proposed lots again? I had a question, just looking at it, on the right side of that. Thank you. So on the far right side, it's like kind of where the corner of the existing lots are, right in the corner. There's like a little like odd shape there, like a square, but more, or like a trapezoid sort of,
Oh,
just behind those
the contour,
properties.
I think he's talking
Is that
about.
a contour? It's just kind of a weird shape, so I wasn't sure. Maybe it's just a flat area.
Oh, yeah, it looks like
Looking
there's,
at it.
looks like there's topo missing back
That
there,
one
actually, it's
there.
blank, and then, yeah.
Well, there's
Yeah, right there.
isn't that a place where there's a considerable amount of water in the, that we saw in the previous,
Well, It's actually still uphill from that, but that's what I was going to bring up next, actually. My property is, so the water is a little bit further to the right of that. Kind of goes through my lot, and the one, I don't have my name, it's just the very corner of that lot there. And the one next to me, and it goes through under Pine Street. But yeah, there's a brook down there, and that was my next question. There's some houses that are at like 85 feet or so there, and then the brook is down below at like 65 feet. And so, just, you know, there's gonna be like a lot of runoff that's gonna go down into that brook, because when that brook gets high in the spring, especially after like all the snowfall we've had, I get a lot of, it does flood over, and my sump pump's running already, so, in the spring, so I'm a little concerned with the building back there, that could be more runoff.
John, can you go to the quad map, so we can see which, I assume it's not it's an intermittent stream and not a perennial that he's talking about, Bob's talking about?
That,
Or is it the continuation of, I can't
Yeah, if
tell.
you look at the green area there, at the top of that green area, that's what I'm talking about. On the left map there.
There's
No,
nothing, there's nothing mapped in that corner.
yeah, see that water? And that was what I wondered about, is there some way we could overlay that on the plan, or is that outside
if you wanna
your?
scroll down. the
Dan, you don't wanna rely on that.
Scroll down to the floodplain designation, please, and then like, that's where that green is where I'm talking, like.
Okay.
You're talking
Okay.
the opposite side, off scope, off locus. Right?
And it does, so there is a stream there, I believe, or some sort of, water body
There's a
apparent from
stream,
that
I mean,
area.
it runs year round, I mean, it's
But
just
it
a trickle in the
does-
summertime.
It does discharge into a pond in the southeastern corner of the property there. If you wanna scroll down just to the existing conditions
So what you're
plan.
saying is this water body over here, this one that I'm looking at here,
Yep,
and this whole entire thing over here,
Yeah, that's what
is
I
the
was.
pond,
that's
Yeah,
the
that,
pond,
that's
and
the
there's
pond.
a concrete dam.
okay? So in
And then the
relation,
dam, after the dam, it runs down into the 3 Mile River.
okay, so then in relationship to that, that location is here,
Right.
and that is not anywhere in the project area. The trapezoid's up here, the pond area is down here. And that other pond might.
So that,
Go ahead,
but what
David.
about that, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, in the map directly above to the right, and again, maybe I'm just not seeing how one overlays the other, but to me, it looks like 1/3 of this site is an area that is of concern to national heritage. Or, actually, can you scroll up?
But they're not in the polygon for heritage, right?
Yeah, they're not proposing anything in heritage, nor are they
Okay.
proposing anything
Right,
within
I
IWPA.
mean, okay, that's fine. I mean, you do see that 1/3 of that red stuff is of concern, but
Yeah, you can
They're
see the
not-
stream channel right here. It's running through the back of those lots, those 5 or 6 lots right there.
Yeah, mine's the second one down. So,
Yeah.
and there's a culvert in the lot next to mine, and then it runs into that pond and then through the dam, so forth. But, but my question was, the houses that are built uphill from me, is that stormwater gonna be managed? Like, it's uphill from me, but it's also uphill from that brook, so I would think that would be some type of environmental concern as well, but.
So my understanding with this design is that the houses will be pitched and elevated, so that way everything pitches to the roadway, and that way the stormwater is all captured within the roadway and managed and then fed into those four infiltration basins for this whole entire development. So the design that's gonna be peer reviewed by an engineer, or is in the process of being peer reviewed by an engineer right now, everything should be vetted out through that professional engineer to make sure that there's gonna be no off-site erosion or any off-site sheet flow, and everything's gonna pitch to the roadways and dealt with and managed properly in accordance with the stormwater handbook and also our local bylaw.
Right. Yeah. So there are stormwater management design standards that they have to meet, and that's exactly what we're having a third-party review right now, is to make sure of exactly that there's no off-site discharges of stormwater from this development onto abutting properties.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's houses right down the road, there's 4 new houses down the road, right on Pine Street that, those were flooded the neighbor's yards. So that's why it's a concern to me. Because if it's not designed right, if it's not executed correctly, then it's gonna be my issue.
No, it becomes my issue, don't worry, I dealt with it.
I mean, the town, you can impose fines, but you're not the person that has to deal with it, right? It's the homeowners that are really dealing with it.
And there was a lot of legal recourse that happened with those developers, so.
Okay.
There's a lot of things behind the scenes that happen that you might not be aware of. And unfortunately, that's why we have the provisions that we have. And I don't think that developer's gonna be building in town anytime soon.
Okay.
So to John's point, if you look at the proposed grades, you can see that they're trying to shed water from the back to the front to get it into the drainage system. So typically that's what you do. You have the house lot, all the drainage, all the pavement from the roof runoff, or at least half of the house, in the driveway, all going into the street drainage system. That's a basic design feature for a subdivision.
Okay.
So it's to prevent it. What's that?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm just saying.
So it's gonna end up in that drainage pond down at the bottom on that side?
Exactly, so it's collected from the lots, the individual lots, it goes into the catch basins in the street, and then it's conveyed and it's piped to those big ponds.
Okay. So is this gonna be a totally different subject, is this gonna be a public sewer system for this development?
There's no proposed septic with this project, so these lots will be connected to the sewer system. Forced main, yes.
Where does the sewer system currently run to on Pine Street?
That is a good question. I don't fully know the answer to at the moment. I don't know if it's on
We
the
don't have,
plans.
as far as I know, I don't have public sewer in front of me.
Well, where's the tie-in for the sewer?
The tie-in goes into currently where this plan does not show it, but they definitely have utilities plans. The tie-in goes into the design, which is to the, I wanna say to the east, which is Balfour Farms, which is Germain Way, which we just talked about for this project. And my understanding is they will be tying into that system and feeding it down Pine Street. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Is it just gonna run from Germain Way to this development?
That is gonna be my understanding. Unless they.
Not all the way down Pine Street?
Like all the way down Pine Street heading west?
West or east. I mean, I'm just saying, is this just gonna be in between Germain Way and this development here?
I believe
And it's
so,
a
I
short
don't think
distance.
the applicant has any intention to extend it, but
As-
I wanna get an answer from him before I
I would definitely get an
definitively say
answer from
something
him.
there.
Now, this project has been in front of the planning board already, right?
Correct.
Okay, and I'm sure that's probably one of their questions and concerns regarding that.
Mm,
And also, it's probably gonna be a discussion and topic for the water and sewer department, which is now the Norton DPW, mind you. So, that's a question I can ask the Norton DPW director, so.
So I was at the planning board meeting and it, being consulting, they said that it's gonna be public or municipal sewer. Nobody said anything about it, nobody kind of asked anything about that. It was just like, okay. So that's why I have no idea what's going on with that.
Well, the
So-
current,
John, is there a plan that shows the connection between the two subdivisions? Is, for the sewer, is any of that work in jurisdiction?
That's a question that I'd have to look into. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing one over here, and we're saying they're gonna connect, but there's gotta be, I'm sure there's a wetland. Who's doing the permitting for that connection?
I don't have that answer for you, so I'll
Claire.
touch base with the applicant and we'll identify if that is in fact a project that he
Okay.
needs to get before the commission or if it's something that the town is working on with him. I'll get an answer
Okay.
for you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I have just two more questions. The first one, a couple of these are actually both, somebody brought them up in the planning board meeting. The first one, I think it was touched on at the beginning of the meeting, was the ORAD and whether that's still valid or not.
It is.
Okay, fair enough. The other question this person had in the planning board meeting was the use of underground fuel tanks, such as propane. Would there be restrictions on that? I don't know if that's in the plan or not, but I think some of the other new houses down the road might have propane tanks, so that's why I'm asking. I guess his point was, can you use underground propane tanks in a ACEC or watershed area or wetlands area?
Well, you definitely don't wanna put underground propane tanks in wetlands, I can tell you that right now. Cause that's gonna go against your, wetland impact for working in ACEC. But the upland areas within an ACEC, I don't know if there's any restrictions surrounding that, I don't believe there is.
Well, you'd have to look at the zoning requirements for,
Yeah.
again, what you can and can't do in the drinking water, well, not drinking water supply. Is it drinking water, is it zone 1?
I think it's zone 2 for this area, is it?
Zone 2.
Yeah,
So
you
again, that comes down to your planning board, in zoning board use regulations on what's allowed.
Okay, I don't know if the person the abutter that asked that at the planning board meeting, I don't know if they actually got an answer on that.
Well, I guess the first question is it going to be supplied by natural gas or electric or propane?
I
I'm
believe
just
it's
Well, it's definitely not
electric.
natural, not natural gas, we don't have it on our road right now, so.
Okay.
So I don't have the
Most
utility.
people have oil, but
I believe so. I think I heard Al respond to that question. I watched the planning board meeting and I believe he said it's electric.
So it is electric,
I believe so.
okay.
electric. Okay. All right, that's all I had, thank you.
all right. Any other questions from anyone in the meeting? So it sounds like, well, we are definitely gonna need to continue this discussion. Our next meeting is the 23rd.
So I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing for file 250-1203 to the February 23rd meeting.
Uh,
That-
you have a problem with that?
I do not have a problem
All
with
right, so we have a motion by Lisa, and did I hear Dan
Second.
second? No, Mark seconded. All right, so, oh, we got everybody on the screen now, so, Lisa and Mark and Dan, how do you vote?
I,
Aye.
And Joe and Courtney, are Courtney still here?
Aye.
Looks like Courtney dropped off.
Oh, Courtney dropped away, okay. All right, so, did Claire disappear too? Oh, no.
She wishes.
All right,
No, John's off the hook now with sharing my screen for me.
okay,
Perfect.
so Claire, we will
Oh, he did.
see you next time.
Thank you so much, appreciate your time.
Thank you. Okay, our next hearing is NRAD, file number 250-1204, 89 North Washington Street.
Frank, are you asleep yet?
No. Yeah, so my name is Frank Gallagher. I'm Gallagher Engineering in Foxborough. And I submitted this ANRAD application on behalf of Michael Peterson. He's the owner and the applicant on this piece of property. So I guess I should see if I can't put it up there.
Does he have sharing?
You should.
Let's see, documents. All right, I never can seem to pull this off. I just don't honestly know how to do it, but let me just see.
See the green share button down the bottom band?
Yep, I did that.
Okay.
And so then I have to find out. It's on my desktop, so I don't.
Frank,
And
do you want
it's
me to try to,
open.
you want me to try to share it for you?
Sure, if you could. Okay, that's it. Yep. Great. Thank you very much. Okay, so this property is a little under 18 and a half acres. It's on the east side of North Washington Street, which is right here. And the rail, the new rail trail is right here. So the parcel of land is all of this located here, and it goes, actually it runs up north a little bit right here. Ken Thompson delineated the wetland, and he's got 4 separate sections that he did. Right here between North Washington and the rail is a wetland area that's marked by flags 1 to 16. They
Can you zoom
actually,
in there? Sorry, can you zoom in there, Megan? Oh, to the left. He's over by the road.
No.
He's starting on the road side.
Yeah, this is the problem, it's not a.
Hold on 1 second. If you can, just pull it somewhere else.
Just so we can follow along.
Yep.
Which one is it? This one, plan?
Yeah.
There we go. Now let me share this. Okay. Go ahead, Frank, sorry about that.
So, right here is flags 1 through 16. And they really all land between North Washington and the rail trail. When you jump over to the other side, the flags are beginning with the number 1 here and ending with a number 35 here. And Ken Thompson also delineated within this area what he thought would be a vernal pool. And then we pick up here, and this was flags B1 through, I'm sorry, no, those ones are, yeah, those are beginning with B1 and going to B43 out here. And then, he also had what he thought was a vernal pool right in this area. And then there's another large wetland area in this portion of the site, and that's flags D 1 through 50, with another isolated area here that was potentially, I guess, a vernal pool.
So, I guess, Frank, not to, I guess, you know, keep you on the spot for this one, but when did Ken do this delineation?
It was, let me see, it was not quite a year ago, I believe. I included his report in the filing. Let me just see.
Right. I mean, so obviously, you know, as we all know, right now, it would take me, you know, a whole week to go out here, and I do not feel like charging you a whole week of time to evaluate these wetlands, because typically when I go out and make ANRAD determinations, if it takes me more than a day, I'm charging you for my services to review them. And I don't think you nor your applicant want me to do that. So I guess from my standpoint, you know, to make everybody's life a lot easier, why don't we table this till all the snow's gone, and if I have any questions, I'll reach out to Ken, and then we can basically reconnect, and we'll keep this on the agenda, but for instance, we'll just potentially table this until there's no more snow on the ground.
Right, I expected that that's what we'd do.
Okay.
I just figured tonight, you know, it was advertised and the abutter notices were sent out.
Right.
So knowing that we'd, you know, table it for some time, I figured at least we could present the plan and see, you know, I didn't want the notion that abutters would come out and us not be able to at least present.
Okay. I'm trying to keep us under our maximum time ever since I've been a conservation agent in Norton, and I don't feel like going past 9:30 tonight, because that would be a record. So I just want to basically speed this up. So if you don't mind, you know, letting us try to not break the record this evening.
Absolutely not. Go ahead, you know,
And
go right ahead.
maybe when we review this, we could have buffers put around that, or
so we don't really need to have
record
buffers.
for you, John, but I think
what is it, Dan?
probably Lisa DeJulian will remember.
Oh yeah, that's not a record, that's nothing.
Longer ones.
Anyway.
All right, well.
Right, so we will have to hold off on any comments. I just had one, is there any frontage on North Washington? Or is the frontage on North Washington and the rail trails an easement?
So that's a good question, Lisa. I think before the rail trail was even constructed, the landowner partnered with the town to securing easements to provide them access to this parcel in anticipation of the rail trail. So that way they wouldn't be landlocked and they would have formidable access to get to this property.
That is correct.
Oh, okay, so that's probably the stretch of rail trail where there's a sign that says public, you know, it says access. Do you know, block private access or something?
I believe that is the case.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
All right, so at this point, because the resource areas can't really be verified until the snow has melted, we're going to keep this on the agenda and potentially continue it. I don't know if you want to continue it for the 23rd, because I think the prediction is it's going to stay.
That's optimistic, Julian.
Yeah, it's going to stay pretty cold. So we could make it March 23rd.
Yeah.
The applicant is okay with that
That's fine.
continuation? All right.
Which date, Julian, the 24th?
No, it's March 23rd, is about 6 weeks out.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong date. Frank, at the meantime, if the weather pops, can Ken get out there to verify that those are vernal pools?
Yeah, I can talk to him about that.
Okay, if he wants to just put it on the calendar, that's what we're doing now, we're just kind of keeping track of sites that we have to go back to.
Well, I think that's a great idea, because March 23rd actually sounds like a great time to start looking at that stuff.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, it's a good thought, but in the middle of this little ice age, I can't even see March 23rd being.
Well, we have hope. All right, so I will make a motion to continue the public hearing for file 250-1204 to the, you want to go to March 24th, Frank?
Yes.
I'm sorry, 23rd.
That's Tuesday.
I know, I don't know why, I'm looking for Thursday, the 23rd.
Oh, I'm wrong, I'm wrong, you're right.
Where am I? It's Monday, the 23rd.
Yes, that was my motion.
Second.
Okay, second.
All right, we have to table that. Did you have a question, sir?
No.
No, okay, no problem. All right, so we have a motion by Lisa, and who seconded that?
Either Joe or I.
Okay.
Seconded. Joe.
Okay. Again, I can't do all those in favor anymore, can I? So Lisa, Dan, and Mark.
Aye.
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 And Joe?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye, and Courtney is no longer in the meeting. All right. I think that wraps up our hearings.
Thank you.
See you on March 23rd, and hopefully it'll be a different era as far as the weather goes. We are now at our review of orders of certificates of compliance. Where the hell is mine? There it is. But both of these have been withdrawn?
No, they haven't been withdrawn. Norton High School, the athletic improvement project, they've requested more time to get their response for the drainage calculations into us. So that's what they're working on. And David Pichette, who's on the call this evening, they've submitted a bunch of stuff for the rail trail to close out the rail trail project. We still need to, there's still some outstanding items for that one. We need to have a site walk with the DPW director. We also need to review the wetland mitigation areas. And we also need the town to sign off on DPW to sign off on the affidavit stating that they're gonna take over operations and maintenance of the rail trail. So those are the three items that are really outstanding for this. Everything else we received from Mass DOT, but those are still the three outstanding items. And we're
So
still.
John, I have a couple comments on that.
Yes,
I did not see in the request for the COC.
we need
I
SWIPs
didn't
too,
see
sorry. We need SWIPs.
I didn't, what's that?
We need the SWIPs. the stormwater
What?
pollution prevention plans, the reports,
What?
we need those as well.
Oh, okay,
So we need those, sorry, that was on my, that was another list item that
okay.
they gave me, so, but I'm still waiting on that.
So, I did not see a stamp and certification that meets the criteria for the request for COC. I just saw a one-pager from Beta.
Oh, you mean from their
So that-
engineer,
Yeah,
from Matt Shute?
I did not see anything stamped. I did not see this required certification statement to request a COC under the act, which is, I certify blah, 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 with the following deviations. It was not stamped. So
Okay,
that's one thing. Number two, I walked every foot of that rail trail from Taunton to Mansfield. I would ask Beta to check the contract specs. I guarantee it did not say you may import and place ragweed. I guarantee the MassDOT spec said weed-free. 90% what's out there is ragweed. So the taxpayers of Norton get crap for their tax dollars, right? They just spread crap out there. It all needs to be removed and replaced with per the spec, as far as I'm concerned. It is a sea of ragweed, unacceptable. I would ask Mr. Shute to go back and look at the spec. The second thing is, what did the plan show for a clearance envelope? Because there are a crap load of trees and branches, so typically, they'll clear an envelope, and it's either, now I don't know, I don't have the plans on this one still. Was it to the edge of the pavement, or was it to the edge of the, maintained mowed lawn area? What was the obligation to remove the limbs along the rail trail? Because every time it's windy, we're getting all these branches and debris, and I honestly have not seen that on other rail trails. So again, I would ask them to look at the spec to see if we got what we paid for on both of those counts.
It's very noticeable on a couple of stretches, even in the middle of summer.
Yeah. The ragweed is a huge problem.
So I'd ask every member of this Conservation Commission to provide me lettered comments, which I can forward over to the town manager, the DPW director, and Mass DOT with your concerns and questions on why this project may or may not get a COC.
Oh, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't meet the criteria.
Okay, well, that's all I need.
All right,
So,
so,
and it's not fair to ask us to vote on a COC in the middle of winter. So that should have come in the spring.
well, all right, so we
Can't
can't,
sign off on a project in the middle of winter.
so we can't act on it, but we don't need a formal motion
No.
to take no action, is that correct?
We do not need a motion or anything. It's
So-
just informative. The town manager has asked the Mass DOT to provide information to close out the project. So Mass DOT is just following the direction of the town manager at this point in time. And I am basically here to provide that information to the board, and that is what I am doing.
All right,
John, are we coming up on the end of the original order? Wasn't it about 3 years ago they started this?
Yes, so the Permanent Extension Act does play, the Leeds Act does play a factor
okay.
into this, so it's automatically extended for 2 years.
Okay.
But just so the commission is aware, the final, I guess, mitigation report that SWCA consultants, who has been hired by Mass DOT and for this project to supervise and review the wetland mitigation areas, their final report's coming to us come December 2026. So even if we were to issue any sort of temporary or partial COC, we wouldn't be able to issue a full COC until we receive that report.
all right, I'm gonna get cranky.
Yep, I'm getting cranky too.
Well, we can't act on this.
Don, I have a quick one here. Can we, just to do the legal thing yet. Can we table this discussion till pending documentation?
Yes, we are taking no action. So
Yes.
in order to take no
Oh, no,
action.
that would just formalize
All right.
by
Yes.
tabling.
All right, and, well, that means we have to entertain a motion and so on, but, we're taking no action, so. I would like to move on to the last required item, which is our order of conditions for Abreu Lane.
And also that, as was just mentioned, there still is additional monitoring time left in this process. So we're not really at the final endpoint. So just wanted to bring that up and say that I agree with what John has stated in terms of holding off to do a final site walk and getting this additional information to the town.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, does everybody have their copy of the orders of conditions for Abreu Lane, file number 250-1191?
Yeah, I just had a quick question, John, on 37.
Sure.
So, sorry, 37H, do you typically not request the SWIP reports on a monthly basis, so you just get them all at the end?
No, I always get them on a monthly basis. It's just,
Okay, so I think you just need to make this clearer, because it just says, upon completion, provide copies. So I think we should change that to say on a monthly basis.
okay, sure, we can do
Right, because
that.
this is tied to the completion of construction.
Right, the only problem that we have there, Lisa, is obviously I probably want to do that and put that restriction before they start construction. So that way they're aware of it, because if they do it after construction and they don't do the SWIP, then they're in trouble, right? So I would say,
Right.
if we're gonna implement that, I would bring it into, I would take that condition, which is the SWIP,
Yep.
and bring it into prior to construction number 1, and just put in that what you just said, instead of GHI, it would be provide monthly SWIP reports.
Yeah, provide copies of the SWIP inspection reports on a monthly basis.
Yep.
Yep, that was the only comment I had.
Okay.
All right, I have a couple more. In 3, where the highlighted just begins, please be advised, and then it has an at in there.
Oh,
We need
the
to
at,
remove-
yeah, that's what I couldn't find, that's right.
Oh,
So that at has to go. And in 4, it says, overall project proposes the construction of 6 duplex. It's actually 3 duplex.
should be 3, yeah, I know. I found that out afterwards, so those numbers need to change.
All right, so all of those, and then I have no other comments. I don't know if anybody else has any other comments.
Dan, any questions, any comments?
Dan
Looks
is-
like he's frozen in time.
Dan is frozen, so.
He's concerned.
The monkey, see no evil, hear no evil.
Speak.
So, I will make a motion. We're ready?
Oh, I think we're ready.
Okay, because it is 9:34, we need to adjourn home. I make a motion to issue the order of conditions for file 250-1191 as discussed.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Lisa, seconded by Mark. So Lisa, Joe, and Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 And Dan, I don't know if you're still there, but if you are, throw in a vote, and I'll throw in my aye. But Dan, you look like you're frozen, so I think we're gonna have to go with 4 ayes.
All right, John Thomas, we owe you 5 minutes of your life back there.
It's okay, it's all right.
And we'll do a formal adjournment motion, please.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Mark and seconded by Joe, I believe. And so Lisa, Joe, and Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
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 And I'll through it, and aye.
All right, see you all in 2 weeks.
Night,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye-bye.